Good morning. I thought we were just noodling.
Yeah, we were just sound checking, so. Is it checking out? Excellent.
She could remember in his smile. The whole world would stop for a little while. Just a little while. I can feel you're an angel in the space I breathe. I believe you have given me identity. You found another. You found another way.
ceremony. Good morning. Are we awake now? All right. Please check your cell phones. Make sure they are on silence. Remember, no open drinks or containers. No food allowed here in the sanctuary. We keep it clean. We are a community founded on prayer. So today's prayer partner is Connie, which you will see in just a minute. She just escaped over here. She will do our opening prayer, but she'll also be available in Nona's Nook after service if you would like any prayer support. You can also, there's papers in front of you and on the website where you can also request prayer support. All right, let's land. If you haven't already, plant those feet on the ground. Remember all the people that have walked this land before you, the ancient Arapaho, Ute, and Cheyenne, but also Nona Brooks and her sisters that founded this center, this building, 100 years ago. The first female minister of Colorado. And she founded this beautiful non-denominational center for herself, for her sisters, for her community at that time, but also for these past 100 years and for the next 100 years. And we're founded on new thought, ageless wisdom, and tradition. We're here to support all races and faiths and cultures and sexual orientations. We're rooted in the practices of meditation and prayer and community. And we're here to support every sentient being in furthering their journey towards oneness. That's what we're here for. So, if you're here for the first time, please raise a hand, stand up so we can honor you and welcome you. Yay, welcome. Thank you for taking the leap of faith to be with us today. All right, so like I said, we are rooted and steeped in prayer, so Connie will bless us with an opening prayer now. Please welcome her up with a round of applause.
Good morning, everyone. So let's just take this opportunity to close your eyes if that feels comfortable, and just relax. Just take a breath and move into this moment. Move into your heart that is alive with the newness of this year. For we have come together today to celebrate not just this place, but also who we are. To know that wonder of life that lives within us, that is us, that is the essence of all that is. Whether we call that God, whether we call that infinite wisdom or divine knowingness, it's all the same. It's that power that unfolds the goodness that is all around us, that is in us and flowing through us. And for that, we give thanks this morning as we join together in harmony and in love to be present to the music, to the words, to the joy that is unfolding right here and right now. And so in gratitude, we allow that goodness to be totally present in all that we are. We take a breath, we release, we let go. We say thank you. And so it is. Amen. And now, if you would stand, we will say the Althea's statement of being. God is all, both invisible and visible. One presence, one mind, one power is all. This one that is all is perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance. We are individualized expressions of God and are ever one with this perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance.
Good morning, Althea. 3 readings today. For last year's words belong to last year's language, and next year's words await another voice. And to make an end is to make a beginning. T.S. Eliot. Any new beginning is forged from the shards of the past, not from the abandonment of the past. Craig D. Lounsborough. You can't build a great building on a weak foundation. You must have a solid foundation if you're going to have a strong superstructure. Gordon B. Hinckley, American religious leader and author who served as the 15th president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Right. Now we're going to welcome back up Jennifer and Scooter, Jennifer Price and Scooter Barnes. After a 10-year hiatus from music, Jennifer is showing up with folk blues vocal and her acoustic guitar. Her songs are familiar, yet unique and full of raw emotion and love. She's a native of the Mile High City and is excited to be playing out for us again. So please give her a warm welcome, as well as Scooter.
Thank you. Wow, what a beautiful day. If it hasn't been already mentioned, today is a 111 portal. Very important day. And I'm sure we're going to have a little bit more information brought about that. But I wanted to sing this one song because of that. And it's called I Want to Have a Life That's Good. And that's what I was resonating to sing today. Sitting here tonight by the firelight reminds me how ready have more than I should. I don't anything, no one to know my name. At the end of the day, Lord, I pray that I have a life that's good. 2 arms around me, heaven to ground me, and a family that always calls me home. 4 wheels to get there, enough love to share, and a sweet, sweet, sweet song. Oh, at the end of the day, Lord, I pray that I have a life that's good. Sometimes I'm hard on me when things don't come easily. End of the day, Lord, I pray that I have a life that's good. 2 arms around me, heaven to ground me and a family that always calls me home. Well, for wheels to get there, and a love to share and a sweet, sweet, sweet song. Oh, at the end of the day, Lord, I pray that I have a life. Oh, that's good. At the end of the day, Lord, I pray that I have a life that's good.
Thank you, Scooter and Jennifer. Thank you, Scooter and Jennifer. All right, it is now my honor to welcome back Reverend Kelly Robbins back to our stage. Reverend Kelly is a CSL minister and a founder of Spiritual Living with Kelly Robbins. She's a multifaceted minister. Kelly, her ministry is multifaceted and allows her to facilitate life's significant rituals and turning points. With reverence and love, she serves the community by honoring loved ones through memorials and celebrations of life, officiating weddings and providing premarital counseling, and she's also a chaplain at both St. Anthony's hospitals. So, Kelly is the author of Trust Your Next Step, Creating the Confidence to Cut Fresh Tracks, and is working on her second book to be released soon. So please give a warm welcome to Reverend Kelly Robbins.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me back. I always love coming here because it's such a beautiful building, and y'all are so nice. So thank you for welcoming me. And I would like to start today with a Sufi story. Two men, both very, hi Linda, both very much on the spiritual path. One lived, a dervish, lived in the mountains. Another was a shoemaker that lived in town. And they knew each other and were friends, and they had this constant debate on, is it better to have your spiritual practice in the mountains, in the quiet, where this is where you focus 100% of your life, your attention, or is it better to practice your spiritual practice amongst others in town as a shoemaker, for example? The dervish came into town, and he was carrying a bag of goat's milk in this kind of a leather pouch that they're known for leaking. And he brought this pouch to the shoemaker, and he said, "Can you hold this?" And by not having the bag leaking, he was demonstrating his spirituality and the strength that he had, his consciousness in being able to hold this without any leaking. The shoemaker said, "Absolutely." So he took the bag from him, and then he turned around and hung it up on a hook. He didn't even need to hold it to have the spiritual strength to have it not leak. So the shoemaker grabs it, they talk for a little bit, and then the shoemaker says, "Hey, since you're here, I have some errands that I need to run. Would you mind staying and watching the store for a little bit?" He said, "Absolutely." The dervish was more than happy to watch a store. He knew how to make shoes. The shoemaker left, and the bag is still sitting there on the hook. And a client comes in, a young woman. It's actually a very attractive young woman, and she asked if she could have a shoe made. And the dervish said, okay, he knew how to make shoes, so he said, "Please take your shoe off," and he had her place her foot on a piece of paper and began to trace her foot, and the bag started leaking because he lost his focus. So the shoemaker comes in, and immediately he sees that the bag is leaking. So he says, "Ha! You think it's better to be up in the mountains engaging in your spiritual practice, but the real strength comes here in town, where life is happening, and building those muscles and the strength here. And that's what we're going to be talking about today a little bit, is what it's like for all of us who live here in town. You know, we live here amongst others, and we have we're here today deepening into our spiritual practice and to filling ourselves up, which is the gift. And we leave here and we go back about our lives. We might have corporate jobs or parents or kids or neighbor. You know, we just have life happening. How do we maintain enough to go through life being the person we want to be? And really what I want my intention for today is for us to look at that base, that foundation. It's also, you know, we just had New Year's. So many of us evaluated our life last year, said, here's what I want to live, how I want to live differently next year. We might have set some resolutions. And it's wonderful to do that because that's growth. And we start with our base. We start with our foundation, and is it strong enough to build from? And the truth is that the base can seem kind of boring and like, oh, I know all this already, you know. I do have a book that came out in 2018, and it's called Trust Your Next Step. I wrote it based on my coaching business that I had for many years, and what I learned was a lot of times when we have these goals or these things we want to accomplish, we start too high, and then we end up failing or not following through. And we need to start with that base. And as boring and as much as we might say, oh, I already know this stuff, it's where we start, because every time we grow, that base, just like roots of a tree, it has to stretch out a little bit farther to be able to hold the energy of where you're going. Does that make sense? So that's what my intent. I want you today to have that in mind while we're here talking and sharing, and go home and take some time for yourself and look at that base. Look at your base and do your best. What have I been not thinking about? What have I not paid attention to? What could use some just energy cleaning, so that it's brought into present time to go forward. So that's my intention for today. So let's talk for a minute. What makes up our base? What is our foundation? It might be a little different for everyone, and the basics are really our physical, mental, emotional health, and our spirituality, our spiritual beliefs. So our physical habits, like, are we eating healthy foods? Do we get enough sleep? Do we exercise? That's part of the foundation of us as a human being. Our mental and emotional health, self. Are we in healthy relationships? Do we engage in self-care? Do we release what needs to be released? After the service today, we're having a grief support group, just kind of creating this sacred space for those of us hanging on to some grief to let it go. It's just little, check-ins with these kinds of things. And then our spiritual beliefs and our practices. Do they support our growth and empowerment? And that's what we're going to focus on today, because we're here. And actually, I think our spiritual beliefs are really the core. All of it's important, but it's easy to skip over our spiritual beliefs, because it's not always as tangible, like as our physical, our mental health gets talked about in society a lot. And what we believe spiritually affects so much, doesn't it? So we're going to dig into that a little bit. So evaluating your foundation. There's a couple, I'm going to provide you with a little bit of information for you to go play with at home. But there's some proven teachers and techniques out there for you to go home and do some extra self-reflection with. One of them is Maslow and Maslow's hierarchy. Are you all familiar with Maslow? And we're not going to dig, like that could be a whole class or workshop. We're not going to dig into that. And I'm just presenting it to you. Maslow's hierarchy, he talks about safety, food, security, a sense of belonging with others, respect for ourselves, that we need to have these things in place in order to grow, in order to, before we can move into that space of self-transcendence, was what he called it, that place of spiritual growth, our basic needs have to be met. So you can take that as you will. Like we study it in college, Maslow's hierarchy, because it's proven. You can ask yourself, are my needs being met for food and water and safety, security? Another one that's actually one of my favorite is Reverend Michael Bernard Beckwith. He has kind of created these fundamental life structures. There's 8 of them, and you can find it for free online. If you want to go dig around, there's a PDF that has his 8 life structures, and I picture them as these pillars that are the foundation of our life. One pillar is our spirituality and beliefs. One is our ego. One is our livelihood, so our careers and how we're contributing and expressing. Relationships, our body temple, financial, beliefs, and community. So you can see how it's kind of touching on all the different parts of a human and their lives. And my encouragement is to, Google it, pull up download the PDF, and see if 1 or 2 of them kind of stick out to you. Sometimes one will be brighter than another. The next day you keep kind of thinking, well, I never thought about community. And I invite you that might be a place for you to explore why. Why is that coming up for you? Maybe there's some growth or some deepening you can do there. And then the last kind of teaching on our foundation or our base are the chakras. There's many chakras, but I would say for today, focusing on that root chakra, the base, and our sense of being grounded and secure. That can be an area that we kind of clean out and explore. How is my root chakra today? And as that we're embarking on our new year, 2026, as we're already probably stepping into whatever New Year's resolutions or goals we're setting for ourselves, these are just some areas to explore that you might not have thought of before. So let's talk about our spiritual beliefs. And I'm just going to throw some questions out here, and we're just going to quietly sit with them for a minute. What is God? What is God? How does God work? How does God work? What does God do? What does God do? And I think how you answer those questions affects your ability to manifest and create in your life. It affects so many things. And that they are kind of simple questions, and at the same time, they're so profound. As I was putting this together, it's hard to, kind of define what is God, because it's so big, right? And for you, that's a journal prompt. What do I believe God is? And there's this roteness in our teaching of what we teach God is, that it's really quick to spew these words out, because some of us have been here many years, some of us are new to this teaching, but taking the time to define what is God and getting to that space where you have to stop and think about it. How does that affect your New Year's resolution to lose weight or make more money or buy a new horse, or whatever it is. It actually, I think, affects it quite a bit because my belief of what God is and what God does and how God works, it to me, it's very interchanged isn't the right word, but it's very integrated with my ability to get that horse or lose that weight or write that book, whatever it is. So what is God? So we teach that God is the creative intelligence of the universe. And thank you for that beautiful prayer this morning, because in prayer, we express what we feel God to be, that substance that created the moon and the stars and the Milky Way, all of the universe is that same substance that created you and me and these chairs and our beautiful altar today. It created the thoughts that we think, and in fact created the dreams that we dream and the resolutions that we set a week or two ago. So it's all one. That substance that is God is everywhere, in all people, all places, all things. And it doesn't matter what you've done in the past or what you haven't done in the past, or how many times you've failed. That truth is still a constant truth and can't be changed. And having that knowledge that there's knowing it in your head, and then there's our sense of being and knowing it, like embodied in our cells, knowing it is our state of being. And for me, there's this sense of power in that. There's a sense of opportunity and limitlessness. And while I can say that, I still can't tell you how many times I've failed and broken my resolutions and not accomplished the goals that I've set out to do. And I'm sure I'm not the only one here. It gets a little frustrating. But there's this something that comes out of my mouth says the right thing, but then when it comes to living my life, just like the dervish who sat up in the mountains praying and meditating all day, when it came down to being in the real world, it all fell apart. The bag started leaking. And that happens to me too. And the other piece about that, what is God, that I actually have found the most empowering is this concept that there's no judgment behind this energy. Like it works within these laws, natural laws of the universe, and it works the same for you, and it works the same for you, and it works the same for me, even though you got one result, and you got one result, and I got something else. But that gives me some, a place to play, right? Where am I? How come he got that? He did it, and I didn't. Why? And if I can look at myself from a place of non-judgment and go back to the spirituality of it. Well, what is God? And why? What am I doing? And start playing. It can be fun, even though it's not always easy. So, exploring for yourself, what is God? And when we can have goals and dreams and stay in this state of growth and expression and expansion and see that we're close to getting what we want, but not, we can take a step back and learn more about ourselves and learn more about our beliefs of what is God and how it works and what it does, and have this sense of non-judgmental exploration. Because we all came here differently. We had different families, different experiences, different stuff sticks to different people. You know, one thing can happen to me, and what's a great example is me and my sister. You know, I, of course, have lived our life from one perspective and saw different things from my parents, different things with our neighbors, and my sister, who was the exact same thing as me, came away with totally different stories, totally different experiences, totally different things that mess her up. Like things that mess me up, she just soars through. Things that mess it, like it's, you know what I mean? And our journey is to say, well, who cares about all them? What's going on with me? What's going on with me? And it starts with that foundation, that base. You know, it's like a canoe. Have you ever gone canoeing? When I was a kid, my dad had a canoe, and they're kind of scary because they're so wobbly. And standing in the canoe, but I guess now it would be like a paddleboard. You build muscle, like core muscle, and in time it gets easier, and you can stand. I think our spiritual practice is often similar to that. It's our core muscles, and we get so we're more comfortable and confident on the water, which might be our day-to-day lives with our just routines that we get in, and we get kind of comfortable with what that looks like, and we're manifesting and living in the area we are, our income, our neighborhoods, our relationships start to get constant. And what happens if we're standing on that? I'm going to update myself to the paddleboard. We'll let go of the canoe. It's more modern. What happens when the wind blows and a storm blows in? We might have these muscles, and they're not strong enough to handle a strong storm. Like those are different muscles, bigger muscles. When a storm comes in, we've got to be in a place where not only we've got our core muscles going, but we need extra to handle the storm. Imagine standing there if you had no core strength at all. Like that storm would just blow you over. We can take that analogy to our goals and resolutions, because we're putting ourselves in this place of expansion, this place of, well, I want to go to this next phase. When we talk about what is God, what does God do? My belief is that God is this energy that is always in this constant state of expansion and growth. And when we come into this January is a natural time of the year. December has its endings, and there's this kind of liminal place in the middle, and then we launch into the new year. We're in this natural state of expansion, and it's gonna, if we take action and do things to grow, the winds are going to blow a little bit, and our spiritual strength will get challenged a little bit, which it's supposed to. That's growth. So it's a good time to look at your base. Are you able to stand on your paddleboard? And when the winds of change come, do you have some muscle there to engage? Because you'll start using different muscles as the wind blows. So, how does God work? Was the next question that I asked. And I think this is important. How does God work? Do you believe that the circumstances that you're in, whatever, think of a goal or resolution you might have had or something you want to change in your life now. Do you believe you have the power to choose and change? And do you believe that God or the universe or the divine supports you in that? Or do you believe it's just fate? And that what's going to happen is going to happen? And I'll tell you, our default is to say, well, yes, of course I know. Of course I believe I can control this. It's the nature of who we are in this room, I would bet. And I invite you to look at the last year or two. And have you had some resolutions that you have not accomplished or followed through with? I know I have. And what's going on with that? What's going on with that? Abraham Maslow, who wrote the Maslow's hierarchy, he said, seeing is better than being blind, even when seeing hurts. And he's saying that, I think that's beautiful, because we have to look at our ugly stuff. We have to look at where am I failing, failing is a judgmental word, but where am I failing? Where am I not following through? And do the deep dive into why. And having the spiritual strength, the belief in God, that non-judgmental lens to say, well, that's being human. That's okay. I'm not the only one who's flopped on this 100 times. And it might take 100 more till I get it. But being able to see it is a gift. Oftentimes, we can't see what's going on, and we have to have someone from the outside help us. But that's where we know truth, and that's how we can create change. And when we can see the truth, I'm just going to call it the ugly truth, it allows us to get down into that foundation and do some course corrections. And that foundation, I started telling you about my book, and I didn't finish my story. It came out in 2018. And it starts off teaches our principles, but it starts off with some basic things, the foundation, I think, of life. And my neighbor bought one for her niece when she graduated high school. She bought it for herself, was what she did. She started reading it, and then she told me, she goes, well, I already know all that stuff. I gave it to my niece. And I was like, okay. That's what we do. We gloss over the foundational important stuff because, oh, I know that. That's elementary, my dear. I read these big books. Like, I've been doing this for 20 years. And we can't. Every time we step into a new growth or a new version of ourselves, we have to check in down here. Because this is where, like, it has to be able to support the energy that we're growing into. And I just can't, we tend to minimize it. And I just am here to say, don't. And then go back through the resources that I shared earlier into how can what is my foundation? What have I been ignoring? If I'm not, I want to grow into this new area. I've struggled here in the past. Go to the basics. Go back to the basics. What is God? What do I believe? How does God work? Now, we believe that God works through, we call it love and law. God is that energy of love, that energy of pure divine goodness, and it follows these natural laws of the universe. So I invite us all to explore these natural laws of the universe. What does that mean to you? What are they? And what applies to my new beginning? What applies to my resolution? Because something does, some law. Particularly if you're struggling with one over a period of time, there's something you're missing there. We know some of these laws, like we can rattle off law of abundance, law of circulation, law of compensation. We can rattle law of attraction. We can rattle them off, and we kind of know intellectually, but we're here living in town. We're the shoemaker living in town amongst all the sexy feet. What's going on in our life that I'm not? What am I missing? What's the ugly truth I keep missing? And sometimes we just don't want to see it. We don't want to look at ourselves in a negative light. This is where that beautiful quality of God of non-judgment comes in, and how do I apply that to myself in a loving way? And how do I see the truth? So we believe, how does God work? Supports us through universal law. An example is I have a seed for a carnation. I plant that seed in the soil. I'm not going to get strawberries. I'm not going to get an evergreen tree. I'm going to get a carnation. The universe always follows these natural laws. The same is true for us. As we are in this beautiful, energetic time of new beginnings, it is very natural for us to expand and grow as God tends to do, and choose new and brighter things for our lives and our human experience. And we can say, what seeds am I planting? The foundation, is the soil clean? Is the soil the right kind of soil? I am not a gardener. And I bought some herbs for my house. They sell them at the grocery store, these fresh, organic basil, thyme, rosemary. And I thought, oh, I had this vision in my kitchen of growing them and cooking and having fresh herbs. And I Googled, how do you care for rosemary? And it said, oh, rosemary, you have to have cactus soil because cactus soil, the water drains and it won't get mold. So I bought cactus soil. Like, I'm into it. And they died like within 3 days. Like, I was so crushed. They died. So it's a good example though, because I'm doing everything I think I'm supposed to do. I'm following the natural laws of the universe, bought the right soil. And I asked my dad, owned a landscape contracting company for like forever. And I said, oh man, I told him what I just told you, and he goes, well, Kelly, the problem is that those herbs really like to be outside, that they like fresh air. They don't want to be in your kitchen. I was like, oh, like I wouldn't have known if I didn't ask him. I was going to go buy more and keep trying, and I would have kept reading Google and trying different brands of soil. Like I would have kept, but I needed somebody to say, as much as you want this, they need to be outside. So I think I'm going to buy a barrel this summer and grow them outside. Our lives are the same way. You don't know what you don't know, but you can say, well, here's where I really feel called to expand in this way, to grow in this way. What comes up for you? What do I believe about God? What do I believe about how God works? Look outside of yourself. Seek outside of yourself for guidance so that you can truly see with the eyes, those non-judgmental eyes of God. And then the last question, what does God do? What does God do? God does everything we do because God expresses through us. So even when we fail, even when we kill our herbs that we want to grow, even when we have a meltdown for something stupid, this is still God expressing. And there's, I think, a real beauty in that and an ease in that if we allow it to be an ease. Our biggest struggle, I think, universally with what does God do is we look outside ourselves for the next step. We look outside ourselves for that trust to move into who we are growing into being, rather than going within and trusting ourselves, rather than going within and knowing that we are those beautiful expressions of God. So our role is to be open to receiving, and to know ourselves enough in what we believe. And we might find that I've talked a lot. We might find that intellectually we agree with a lot of what I said, and then there's a part of it that we might not. And the best way to know that is to look back through last year and say, well, this is what I believe, and yet I did this and this and this. Why? Like, explore yourself, explore your life. We are the way God expresses. And with how God expresses, I'd like to just invite in these qualities of wholeness and oneness, and this sense of, not even a sense, a knowing of our interconnectedness with each other, and trusting our intuition, trusting that we do know. We do know when it's right to say, hey, I keep struggling with my herbs. What's going on? Like, that's an intuition to ask someone for feedback in a safe, loving way. We obviously don't ask everybody because not everyone has the consciousness to see through that way. So we have practitioners. Reverend Christina is all great sources for that when you're really wanting truth in a loving, non-judgmental way. So what blocks us from expressing and knowing God? Hanging on to stuff we don't need anymore. Like, I just say it really simply, hanging on to stuff we don't need anymore. And we don't let go. We don't let go. We don't let go of fear. We don't let go of relationships that no longer serve us. We don't let go of stories that no longer serve us. We don't do the cleaning work. Like today, the grief support group, we're just cleaning some house in a loving way, in a sacred, safe way, looking at what comes up. And there's other spaces to do this work, what works for you. So with that, let me just say that the strength of our foundation, our base, directly impacts the results in our lives. All aspects of ourselves matter, our physical, mental, emotional, spiritual sides. Our beliefs about what God is, what God does, and how God works affects our ability to live our life empowered. It affects our ability to live our life with intention, and it affects our ability to live a life of love. And with that, I'm going to invite us all into prayer. I'm going to close our eyes and take a breath and breathe in that powerful and loving essence of God and our understanding of what God is. That immense, powerful energy that created the stars and the moon and the atmosphere, the oxygen that we breathe and can't see, that energy that's made of the qualities of love and beauty and joy and peace, that those same qualities that make up the divine are the same qualities that make up everyone here, everyone across the world and the universe, including each one of us, including me, including you. As we kind of soak that into ourselves, we might feel our shoulders relax and our body kind of relax a little bit as our heart opens with that amazing sense of possibility, that amazing and beautiful energy of enthusiasm and creativity and love. And as we have these open hearts, you can just feel it. Feel our being, the very beingness of who we are, kind of shift and vibrationally harmonize with all of these beautiful attributes. And feel the strength in that. Feel the enthusiasm with how you can move forward with the rest of your day and week and life. It's amazing. It's beautiful. We give thanks for this. We are so grateful to feel such love, feel such empowerment, have such resources, such amazing resources within us. Resources to give thanks and create love and gratitude and more good in the world and in our lives. We give thanks for these truths, and we can release this prayer, release these words to the laws of nature, the laws of the universe. As we release them, we let them go, knowing that as we say it, it is done. You'll join me in saying, and so it is. Amen. Thank you.
Can we give Reverend Kelly Robbins one more round of applause? Now we'll welcome back up Jennifer and Scooter for another song.
Well, that was amazing. A lot of stuff resonated for me there.
Definitely a positive message.
We were going to do a different song. We're going to do a song that apparently we have lost someone recently.
How many are deadheads in here? Huh? The last vestige. All right, let's try this. Another time, forgotten space. Your eyes look from your mother's face. My thoughts seeds in the sand, sand and stone. May you live and fall what you want to roll away. Do roll away. Do you got to roll away. I tell you where the four winds dwell. Franklin's tower that hangs them back. It can ring, turn a night to day. Can ring like fire when you lose your way. Yeah, roll away. Do roll away. Do you got to roll away. Do you got to roll away. God save the child that brings heaven bound. In Franklin's tower, there hangs a bell. It can ring from night to day. My heart sees in the sand and stone, yeah. If you play nice, you're gonna harvest way. Now roll away the dew. You got to roll away the dew. You got to roll away down dew. Gonna make it if you hold true. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, you guys.
We will miss you, Bobby. Yes, indeed.
Thank you, Jennifer and Scooter. All right, our ushers are up here to for our moment of giving and receiving. We have been blessed with the words of Reverend Kelly Robbins and with this beautiful music from Jennifer and Scooter. And in this moment, we remember that we are the ones that keep the lights on. We are the ones that keep this building that's 100 years old and shows it every week. Please know that your contributions help to keep the lights on, but also to make needed repairs. Like all the time. Like the boiler and things break and leaks happen. So give, knowing that you're helping to sustain this beautiful building. Okay, so hold what you can give in your hand or in your heart, and together we affirm, the universe provides all that I need and all that I give. With great joy, I share my prosperity, planting seeds for a world I am helping manifest, and so it is. Amen. All right, so ushers are coming around. Remember that you can also give with a credit card. We have a little Clover device that you can scan your credit card on the website, the QR code on your program. There's many ways to give. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, a few announcements and then we will close off today. So Reverend Kelly Robbins is giving a workshop today on grief. So if you want to do that cleansing, as she said, stick around. You can still sign up. You can still attend if you haven't signed up yet. Next Saturday is the All Goddess Kirtan here in the sanctuary. That's going to be awesome. And then on the 1st of February, we have a prayer mala workshop. So big things coming. All right, so we'll have one more song from Jennifer and Scooter, and then Kristen will pray us out. All right, thank you.
That was a lot of fun.
Things to do on a Sunday.
So Christina asked me to do something kind of on the upside, and so I decided I wanted to do a cool, easy Eagles song. Never done it before. And I hope you guys all sing along, because it'll be fun. Oh, one other thing I wanted to mention. I don't know if last year was challenging for anybody. It was a challenging year, I think. It was a snake year, and so we're moving into this. This new year is a fire horse year. It's all about momentum. It's all about moving forward, picking up our feet and rock and roll.
I actually am a fire horse. It's kind of cool. And the last time it happened was when I was born. How weird. Who knew?
And with that said, if you didn't already know, the snake year is a slow, sloughing, let go of the things. Like Kelly said, let go of things that aren't serving you, let go. And that's what I'm doing this year. I'm moving forward with all the stuff that I was so grateful to let go of. And now we're going to play some Eagles. Running down the road, trying to loosen the load. I got what the brandy on my mind. Both they wanna hold me, two they wanna stow me. One says she's a friend of mine. Take it easy, take it easy. All y'all depend on the day, drive you crazy. No, why you still care? Goodbye to understand. So by the place I'm going in, take it easy. I'm standing on the road in Winslow, Arizona. Such a fine sight to see. The girl, my Lord, let a flatbed boy slowing down and take a look at me. Yeah, come on, baby, come on, baby. Don't doubt your things about me, make you crazy. You can lose and you will win. Okay, we're trying to understand. So button up, I'm driving in and take it easy. Well, I'm running down the road trying to loosen my load. Got a world of trouble on my mind. Looking for a lover who won't blow my cover. She's so hard to find. Take it easy, take it easy. Nobody there but you're only drive you crazy. I know it well still can. Don't make it bad to understand. Nobody up down driving in. Take it easy. Take it easy. Come on, take it easy. Thank you. Sorry about that.
Very nice.
Take it easy.